Hi, I'm Neil Evans with the Harken Tech team. We're here today to talk about Windward Sheeting Traveler Cars. The original concept behind a Windward Sheeting car was to make handling the Traveler car simpler through tacks and jibes and so forth for the main sheet trimmer. Basically, the fundamental idea of a Windward Sheeting car is that it always cleats the cam cleat to the windward side. So as the Traveler car moves back and forth along the track, it cleats and uncleats the cam cleats. So if this is the leeward side of the boat, the cleat is open. So as you trim the car up to windward, the cleat is automatically closed. So you're always pulling it to windward. You could also drop it by pulling the cam out, the line out, and then reapplying it to the cam. The nice thing is that leeward side is always open depending on where the pressure is off the boom. And I'll demonstrate that here in a minute. So if you were to look at a car up close, what is really happening here is the Traveler car itself is moving underneath this upper plate. So there's two plates that make up a Windward Sheeting car assembly. And really all that's different between this Traveler car underneath here and any other Traveler car is this stainless steel assembly on the top. And this is made up of two plates that end in here. And what happens is the lower plate moves, but the upper plate stays stationary. So if you watch this plate underneath, you'll see it moving, triggering the cams to open or the cams to close. So these may look like standard 150 cam cleats, but they're not. They're a special version of the 150 cleat. They are part number 150 SP. And what makes them special is these posts on the bottom. These special posts, as that plate moves, there's a half moon shape on that lower plate, as I explained, that's sliding with the car, that's pushing those posts open or closed as the car slides back and forth. And the upper mechanism is just along for the ride that contains the actual shifts for the control lines. So as that moon piece, that half circle pushes on those cams, those posts on the cams, it opens or closes the cam. So this is a small boat setup, small main sheet. Main sheet's under tension right now. It's kind of in a neutral spot. This is now what would be the windward side of the boat, and you could pull the Traveler up. As we tack and the boom goes across now to leeward, this cleat opens, this cleat cleats, allowing me to trim to windward. So the main sheet trimmer or somebody else doesn't have to remember to go to the leeward side and uncleat the Traveler control line so that the Traveler could be moved up to windward. So same thing would happen is if the boom came back now and we went the other direction, I can pull it up to windward with not ever uncleating this cleat. And I can keep doing that. Now if it goes back, we can trim the other direction because it's uncleated here. That's the real concept behind it. The car underneath is a standard Traveler car, and it's maintained the same way any one of our other Traveler cars are. And there's a video already on our YouTube page that will walk you through how to care and maintain your Traveler car through washing and lubrication and so forth. And after watching this, if you are interested in windward sheeting and you do currently have a Harken Traveler car and system, there's a good chance that you could upgrade what you have there without replacing the track or the car by simply adding a windward sheeting adapter kit. The windward sheeting car body itself has some unique aspects to it, and there's a lot of old ones out there on these boats that may not be operating as they're intended, and it's probably just a little bit of lack of maintenance to them. One thing that's unique to this windward sheeting, as I explained, this plate is sliding back and forth on the top of this car assembly. So as it slides back and forth, it's riding on sliders that you can see in these shots, but really those sliders are basically composed on each side of 3 components. And there's a slider set available in case those were to wear out, have gotten damaged, or again, have deteriorated over time. Basically what that is it's a crescent shaped piece that slides back and forth to help push on the cams, and then two little end caps that go on the end that allow that piece to slide smoothly back and forth. So the cam cleats themselves, sometimes what happens with them is either the balls have gotten dirty or deteriorated over time or worn out. The springs underneath can break, or the cams themselves, these posts can get bent if the car has gotten kicked or left in an open state where it's constantly banging all the time. So the cams themselves could be replaced. Again, it is part number 150 SP. The springs underneath could be replaced. You can purchase those as well, or you could purchase a cam rebuild kit for it. Part number 150 kit will give you a full rebuild kit for the cam itself, which includes new ball bearings, the plastic components, and the springs underneath. One other thing too is, like I said, it's a standard traveler car underneath. These are CB cars, so they have the captive bearings in them so the bearings don't spill out. A lot of the original Windward Sheeting cars were our old non-captive bearing cars where they had end caps on them. Sometimes those end caps break. They're the same end caps that you would buy for a normal traveler car, and we do have rebuild kits for those traveler cars. So the standard small boat or mid-range or big boat, so the 22, the 27, or the 32 millimeter rebuild kits will work for those traveler cars as well. All of those parts are available on Harken.com or from any one of your dealers. So a typical question that we get as we're talking about maintenance here is that their car isn't operating quite right, that the cam isn't opening properly or it isn't closing properly. And what I would tend to recommend is if it's over 15 years old or even really over 10, it's probably best to replace the cam cleats at that time and replace the sliders at that time. Because if you're going through the work of taking off the cam, you might as well just do this at that same time. It's preventative maintenance. So let me show you how that's done. So now we've cleaned, we've washed it, we've used fresh water, soap, and it's still not operating properly. And we want to go ahead and take this cam cleat off and replace that slider set. So simply all you're going to do is remove these screws from the top of the traveler car, or from the top of the cam, not from the top of the traveler car. The cam itself will pull out, screws, the cam, and then this cap slides off, and underneath there you'll see the slider sets. So the half moon piece and then the two end caps, one on each side. Just replace those. Take your cap. On this cap, there's a bottom and a lower separated by a little tab. This upper plate goes on there, obviously on top, and the lower plate goes in here. And it's pretty obvious by the size of that gap. We're going to put our cam cleat back on, which in this case, because it's over this side, we're going to push it so that this side is open, and then it helps to open the cam cleat just a little bit so that it sets down. Now we're going to take our screws and we're going to drive them back in. Typically you'd put a little blue Loctite on these screws or red Loctite, either one is fine, and to put these in because you don't want them loosening up over time. And then you just simply tighten the screws back down. So again, I hope this removes some of the mysteries regarding Windward Sheeting cars, some of the care and maintenance issues that go along with them. If you do have any questions regarding Windward Sheeting cars, feel free to call Harken and ask for technical service, or hit option 1, and we'll help you out in any way we can.